Went with my car and coffee co-founder Vic, and we went to see In a Violent Nature at the Alamo Draft House in Yonkers. And it's a slasher film. It's a new slasher film, just got released over this weekend in limited screenings everywhere. It's not anything big and local. It's supposed to come out in Shutter in a few weeks because Shutter is one of the main backups to this. I like the movie. It's your basic slasher film. It had Friday the 13th written all over it. Let me break it down. The story is it's kind of the same with one exception. Instead of following the characters who you really don't care about because you don't get to know them from Jack, it you kind of follow the killer himself. Apparently, he rises from the ground, right, which is kind of weird. I think that was his hiding place, and he goes on a killing spree and he kills whoever he comes across. It doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter who it is. It could be your uncle, your aunt. It doesn't matter. He wipes them out in the most gruesome, horrid, gory ways you could find imaginable. I must say, I have to give this movie props. This had some good kills. As a matter of fact, there was one particular kill that I was like, wow, that was a creative kill. Like this beast, this guy's a beast, yo. This guy's a beast. I liked he didn't talk. Again, he's one of those killers. He doesn't talk, doesn't say anything. He just does. He just kills. Now, uh you get a little bit of a background of the story of who he is and how he came to be. Apparently his name is, if I'm right, Johnny. And Johnny was a messed up kid. And Johnny went to, and it's funny, it's a basic name, Johnny. I mean, Johnny's so basic. Not as basic as Jason or Michael, even though Michael, can be kind of basic. Johnny in this movie is a killer, and he follows around, he just kills people. And, it's interesting. You get a final girl in this movie. I mean, it has all the elements there. Movie has had a split in reviews. Some people liked it, some people didn't like it. There's the biggest complaint I heard about this movie is that it follows the killer from the killer's point of view, like as if the camera is just simply following him. You see his backside more than anything else. You do see him eventually, all of them, but in the movie you're kind of watching him, and he walks and he walks and he walks. It just keeps going. It doesn't stop for a while. It feels like he's been walking for miles, day in and night out. It's weird like that. But when he does those kills get serious, and some people complaining to be boring. I didn't find the walking parts boring. Maybe because I expected it already. Because I've heard other people. My friend Nate reviewed it, and he said there was a lot of walking. So I kind of expected it. So as a result, it didn't bother me. Might still bother other people, who knows? But it didn't bother me so much. It finally comes down to this group of campers that rented out a cabin somewhere, and he, like Jason mode, kind of systematically wipes them out bit by bit, bit by bit. The park ranger's son, who's a ranger himself, kind of fills in the story on how to stop him. So you get to see how that works out. Doesn't work out too well, but you see that there's this connection with the mother and a necklace, and there's a lot of things going on there. And in truth, in my view, I didn't find any of those things important. Like it didn't even matter to me, because all this movie did was deliver a series of fresh, gory kills that would make people that are into this kind of horror smile. It was a good movie in that sense. In that sense, the camera work was, unique in that way. I have to admit. So I'm not gonna, down this movie for because it had a lot of walking. I'm gonna give this movie 3 coffee cups. It was a good watch. Now, would I care to watch it again? No. Would I want to show this movie to a friend or somebody on Shutter later on down the line when it gets released in Shutter? Sure, why not? I like that would probably be the only way I would see it again. Hey, I saw this crazy movie called In a Violent Nature, which is an odd title for a horror film. You want to see it? Yeah, okay, cool. That kind of thing. That's the scenario I would do. Another thing that I found intriguing about this film was, at the end of the movie, I'm not really giving anything away, but there's a lady that turns up to help one of the victims, and she gives a monologue of sorts that people are like, what the hell is she talking about? Why is she sharing this story? But believe it or not, there's something in the story that she tells that kind of explains a lot as to why this killer does what he does. And if you pay attention really closely to what that lady talks about when she talks about it, I picked up on it immediately. I was like, okay, I see. I think that's what that is. That kind of thing. Again, not gonna tell you. Just keep an ear out for it. Another thing, at one point, the killer, he's walking around. He doesn't have anything on his head, but he comes across some stuff, weapons and everything. And there's this mask, and he puts on the mask, and he's walking around with the mask. And Victor caught it. He looked like an owl, right? He didn't remind me of an owl. When I was watching this, at one point, I started laughing because I was like, he looked like a minion. Imagine a minion as a serial killer. It would look something like that. I'm just saying, like if for those of you who watch the Despicable Me movies, you know what I speak of, right? So if you see this image and you see a minion, you kind of get the gist here. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. All right. So there it is, guys. My review of In a Violent Nature. Was this movie in a violent nature against your common sense to enjoy this film? If that question makes sense. Let me know. Comment below and share with me. Talk to me about your comments, about your thoughts about this film. If you don't catch it in the theaters, don't worry. It's going to be out on Shudder soon enough, and you'll be able to catch it then. And then if you want to share your thoughts here, by all means, do it. An interesting horror movie, I have to admit. So yeah, that's pretty much it here. This is Ralph Perez from Horror and Coffee. Getting ready to turn in to go back to work tomorrow. But until the next review, take care, guys.